Lesson Sharp 21. The lower world. Everything was bad at work. Suppliers have delayed delivery of parts. The logistics department messed up something on time and was ready to send away a crane that we have not yet manufactured. The production department was delaying the deadline, and I had to explain to the customer. Besides, I had to go to the bank, but the driver told me that he was at the service and the car would not be able to leave for 2 hours. Great. The bank will close in 2 hours, so I will have to use public transport. As I left the office, I saw a bus approaching and rushed to the bus stop. I ran as fast as I could across the road, and at the last moment jumped up the step. We drove for a long time. I wasn't looking out of the window, mentally listing all the other things I needed to do today. But at some point I was interested in the view from the window. There were woods and fields. Where are we going? Damn, did I take the wrong bus and went the other way, not to the city? Now it is clear why there is such a picture in the window. Why did I cross the road? When I saw the bus, I didn't think I was going the other way. Well, all work and no play. Or am I dreaming? When I got to the last stop, I asked the driver how long he would stay in the parking lot. I was informed that the bus is not going to go back at all. Wonderful. The next one isn't due for another 2 hours. Much like a request from the underworld. Is this a dream? I asked myself. An old woman suggested visiting the sites of their village. The attraction was considered to be some kind of temple, or datsun. In general, a religious place. It turned out that it was still a datsun on the approach to the building. It became clear from the red painting and Chinese roofs. A young man stared at me. What does he want? Maybe you need to go around the datsun only clockwise, and in no other way. But I seemed to be going clockwise anyway. Weird. As I was entering the temple, a second young man drew attention on me. He looked as intently as the first, but more friendly. So I thought it was all right and I could go inside. After examining the temple, I was about to leave it, but the attendants began to persuade me to wait for something. The holiday was about to begin, some important event. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I sat down on the pillows and listened to the ringing bells and the singing. I woke after a while in another place of the temple on the altar. There was a statue next to me. What is this? Now there was no doubt in my mind that this was a dream, of course. If you decide to confuse me, now I'll give you a fun life. Anger was stirring in my body, and the air around me was already swirling in little eddies. It's time to leave. As I was leaving the temple, a double in the form of my husband came running. We both knew he was a double. He came to the rescue, sensing something was wrong. Are you being held here? I heard in my head. They can't. I feel that I can safely leave, I replied. The friendly young man who met me when I entered the temple begged me to stay. He asked so sincerely and kindly that it was inconvenient for me to leave the temple so quickly. I came back. The chants began. I was gradually becoming intoxicated, but I didn't notice it. I woke up hanging high in the air. My head was down, and the first thing I saw was my shoes. Looking into the distance, I saw a dark storm coming. Lightning on half the sky, a terrible hurricane wind. We don't have such storms on Earth. The wind seemed to be like a wall, moving in, leaving behind fragments of trees mixed with plants torn out of the ground. What a power! Whether anyone survived in such an element is unknown, but the forest that shielded me from the storm was gradually disappearing. As I stared at the raging storm, one of the young men who had met me at the temple quickly lifted off the ground and spiraled up to my level. As he approached, he released a ray from the second dantian and it flew away towards the storm, forming a kind of shield. With this shield, the guy tried to stop the approach of the element, and interestingly, in a small area, he was able to do it. Who held back the elements before? While I was thinking, the second guy I'd seen earlier got up from the ground, holding up a shield in the same way, trying to hold the storm from the other side. From the ground came a woman's cry, full of terror and despair. I looked down. The Datsun was surrounded by carts with some sacks laid out in the form of a barricade. Behind the carts, people sat on the ground, women with children in the center. A woman was screaming, hugging two babies. On a raised platform, in the center of it all, sat a man in temple robes. From his second dantian, a ray reached out to mine, and from mine, far into the storm, forming a shield around the buildings and part of the forest. Why didn't you say you needed help? I said to the man on the dais. He was in deep meditation and apparently could not answer. Okay, let me help you. Intercepting his channel, I transferred my consciousness from my body to the shield. I am a shield. Dissolving in it, I felt the pressure of the storm. It grew and grew. As I merged with the shield, I felt the presence of other consciousnesses. We pushed the storm back, not letting it pass, breaking its power into tiny fragments. Bells were playing in my head. This helped to work together and on the same vibrations. The rumble was growing. I woke up and sat up in bed with a jerk. The muscles twitched as if after a workout. Interestingly, I didn't feel any energy depletion. This is not old memory. This soul, subconsciously willing to help, can be dragged to the lower world for some global purposes. The soul can change matter in the world with a lower frequency of vibration than itself. The more people who are willing to subconsciously help the lower worlds, the more structured and bright they will become. The worlds are interconnected. If the lower worlds are brighter, then our world will be better too. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. All have a good mood and bye.